Be me. 27-year-old woman. Always considered myself feminist. Believe in women's rights and calling out sexism everywhere. Grew up with supportive family who cared about feelings. Always had male friends who listened to my problems. Recently noticed something disturbing happening around me. Men completely indifferent to my emotional state now. Not hostile or angry, just completely uncaring about everything. Should feel empowered by their lack of emotional control. Instead, feel invisible and emotionally abandoned by everyone. First noticed with my brother during family crisis. Grandmother sick in hospital. I'm crying about situation. She might not make it. I'm so scared. Brother barely looks up from his phone screen. Yeah, that sucks. While scrolling through social media, used to comfort me during all difficult times. Now treats my emotions like annoying background noise. Try explaining how scared and sad I feel. Sorry you're going through that, without any emotion. Feel like talking to automated customer service robot. Dating reveals even more concerning pattern with men. Match with guy who seems nice and caring. First date goes well. He seems interested and attentive. Second date, I mention stress about work situation. My boss is making my life completely miserable. Expect sympathy or advice like guys used to give. Instead get, that's tough, while he checks sports scores. Try to explain how anxious and upset I feel. Hopefully, it gets better without even looking at me. Emotional connection, completely one-sided and hollow feeling. Visit friend Sarah, who's having serious marriage problems. Her husband treats her emotional needs like inconvenience. I'm feeling really neglected in our relationship lately. Okay. While he continues watching TV without pause. I need us to talk about our future together. Sure, whatever you want to do about it. Sarah crying about feeling disconnected and alone always. Husband's response is practical rather than emotional support. Maybe you should talk to someone about that. No comfort, no engagement, just deflection and avoidance. Attend family dinner where pattern becomes obvious. Sharing story about my difficult day at work. Customer yelled at me for 20 minutes today. Dad used to get protective and angry on behalf. Now just nods and asks someone to pass potatoes. Male cousins continue their conversation about sports statistics. Emotional sharing met with polite but empty acknowledgement. Try to explain how humiliated and upset I felt. Sounds like a bad day, before changing subject immediately. Feel like entertainment break rather than valued family member. Friendship with college buddy Mark reveals complete transformation. Used to stay up late talking about life problems. Call him crying about relationship ending very badly. Sorry to hear that in completely monotone voice. Want to talk about what actually happened? Not really. You probably already know what to do. Conversation lasts 3 minutes instead of 3 hours. Emotional support completely withdrawn from our friendship. Used to care deeply about my happiness and well-being. Now treats personal crisis like minor temporary inconvenience. Workplace interactions show same emotional distance from everyone. Male colleague finds me crying in break room. Everything okay with you today? Having really rough week, feeling completely overwhelmed. That's hard. While making coffee and leaving immediately. Used to have male coworkers who checked on me, offered encouragement, and actually listened to my problems. Now, emotional distress, acknowledged but completely ignored. Masculine protective instincts completely absent from workplace. Dating app conversations become emotionally hollow and meaningless. Match with accountant who seems stable and kind. Text him about having anxiety about family situation. That sounds stressful. Followed by random topic change. Share feeling about struggling with loneliness lately. Sorry you feel that way. Want to grab dinner Friday? No emotional engagement with my actual feelings expressed. Treats emotional sharing like boring weather update. Romance becoming transactional rather than emotional connection. Visit mom, who notices same pattern with dad. Your father used to get so concerned when upset. Now he just waits for me to finish talking. Describes how dad's emotional responses changed over recent years. Used to comfort me and try to fix problems. Now says I'm strong enough to handle things myself. Mom feeling emotionally abandoned in 30-year marriage relationship. Traditional masculine emotional support completely withdrawn from her. Friend Lisa shares identical experience with her boyfriend. He used to care so much about my feelings. Now it's like talking to a brick wall every time. Describes relationship becoming emotionally sterile and cold. I can be crying and he'll ask what's for dinner. Not mean about it, just completely disconnected from me. Feminine emotional needs no longer masculine priority at all. Men treating women's feelings as individual responsibility only. Nephew's soccer game reveals generational emotional distance clearly. Get emotional watching him play well during game. I'm so proud of him. This means everything. Brother and male relatives barely acknowledge my comment. Used to share in feminine emotional experiences together. Celebrate and commiserate with female family members always. Now masculine emotional participation completely absent from events. Women experiencing feelings alone despite male presence everywhere. Church reveals same pattern during weekly prayer requests. Share concern about friend's serious health crisis. Really worried about Jennifer. She's struggling badly. Male congregation members politely nod without genuine engagement. Used to have men who showed genuine concern, offered to help, and followed up on problems later. Now, feminine emotional needs met with spiritual platitudes only. Masculine emotional investment redirected away from women completely. Attempt heart-to-heart with male friend Kevin about situation. I feel like men don't care about women's feelings anymore. That's interesting perspective while playing video game intensely. I'm serious. It feels like complete emotional abandonment. Sorry you feel that way about things. Conversation I hoped would last hours ends in minutes. Emotional vulnerability met with polite indifference and dismissal. Masculine emotional support system completely collapsed around me. Dating becomes a series of emotionally hollow encounters repeatedly. Guy seems perfect on paper, but emotionally unavailable. Share anxiety about important career decisions ahead. Sounds like you have a lot to think about. No investment in my emotional well-being or happiness. Romance reduced to activities without emotional connection ever. Masculine emotional leadership completely absent from relationship. Feel like dating emotional robots rather than caring men. Visit therapist who notices pattern among female clients. Women reporting widespread masculine emotional withdrawal. Men no longer providing traditional emotional support anymore. Describe systematic change in male emotional availability. Used to see couples where men cared deeply about women's feelings. Now men treat feminine emotions like annoying inconvenience. Professional observation confirms my personal experience completely. Family wedding reveals emotional divide between different generations. Older men attentive to female relatives' emotional needs. Younger men completely detached from feminine feelings entirely. Grandmother gets upset during emotional ceremony moment. Grandfather immediately comforting and protective of her. Cousin gets emotional about same touching moment. Her boyfriend continues texting without acknowledgement or care. Generational shift in masculine emotional investment obvious. Breakup reveals modern masculine emotional detachment completely. Told him I was heartbroken about us ending. His response was, "Sorry it didn't work out." No emotion, no comfort, just factual acknowledgement. Describes feeling emotionally abandoned during vulnerable moment. Men treating relationship endings like business transactions only. Feminine emotional needs no longer masculine concern at all. Attempt to understand change through male perspective directly. Ask brother directly about his emotional withdrawal. Honestly, women's feelings aren't really my responsibility anymore. You're strong and capable. Figure it out yourself. Describes learning that caring about female emotions is problematic. Got accused of mansplaining when I tried to help. Easier to just acknowledge and move on quickly. Masculine emotional support eliminated through social pressure campaigns. Online research reveals cultural shift in masculine behavior patterns. Men's forums discussing feminine emotional manipulation tactics. Don't get sucked into women's drama anymore. Their feelings aren't your problem to solve, ever. Systematic masculine emotional withdrawal, organized and deliberate. Traditional protective masculine emotions redirected elsewhere completely. Men teaching each other to ignore feminine emotional needs. Dating foreign guys reveals stark cultural difference. Italian exchange student immediately concerned about my feelings. You seem sad. What can I do to help? Emotional investment and genuine care about my well-being. American men learned that caring about feminine emotions is weak. International comparison reveals what was lost culturally here. Foreign masculinity still includes emotional investment in women. Realize personal responsibility for this emotional abandonment. Spent years criticizing men for being too emotional. Stop trying to fix my problems. Just listen. I don't need you to rescue me from anything. Contributed to messaging that eliminated masculine emotional investment. Men learned that caring about female feelings is unwelcome. Feminist messaging successfully eliminated masculine emotional support. Workplace harassment training reveals institutional messaging about emotions. Male emotional investment in female colleagues creates liability. Caring about women's feelings can be misinterpreted as romantic. Professional boundaries require emotional distance from female staff. Masculine emotional support, officially classified as workplace problem. Men learning that caring about feminine emotions is dangerous. Visit college campus where pattern obvious among students. Young men completely detached from female emotional experiences. Women crying about academic stress, ignored by male classmates. Traditional masculine protective instincts absent from entire generation. Everyone's responsible for their own emotional well-being. Feminine emotional vulnerability no longer inspiring masculine response. Academic environment teaching emotional independence through masculine withdrawal. 3 months of observation reveals systematic pattern everywhere. Masculine emotional investment withdrawn from women completely. Not cruelty, but learned indifference to feminine feelings. Men treating female emotions like weather reports. Acknowledge, but don't engage or invest emotionally, ever. Traditional masculine protective emotions completely suppressed. Now, understand that emotional withdrawal is protective behavior. Men learned that caring about women's feelings is liability. Emotional investment leads to accusations of controlling behavior. Safer to remain emotionally detached than risk feminist criticism. Masculine emotional leadership eliminated through social messaging campaigns. Men protecting themselves through practiced emotional indifference. Start questioning whether emotional independence worth the cost. Achieved goal of men not trying to fix problems, but lost masculine emotional support and investment completely. Feel emotionally abandoned despite achieving political victory. Feminine feelings no longer inspiring masculine protective response. Equality achieved through masculine emotional withdrawal from women. Discover that men still have emotions about other things. Passionate about sports, careers, hobbies, male friendships. Emotional capacity redirected away from feminine concerns completely. Not emotionally dead, but emotionally unavailable to women. Masculine emotional energy reserved for non-feminine interests only. Emotional investment exists, but excludes women entirely. Now, learn that traditional masculine emotional support is culturally dead. Men caring about women's feelings redefined as toxic behavior. Protective masculine emotions eliminated through feminist messaging campaigns. Emotional vulnerability met with practiced indifference and dismissal. Traditional gender emotional dynamics completely reversed through activism. Masculine emotional leadership eliminated as oppressive patriarchal behavior. Realize wanting both independence and emotional support simultaneously. Criticize masculine emotional leadership while secretly needing it. Men adapted to feminist preferences by becoming emotionally distant. Getting exactly what feminist ideology demanded about male behavior. Emotional abandonment, feeling like personal punishment for political beliefs. Feminist victory, creating unintended feminine emotional isolation. Understand that masculine emotional indifference is rational response. Caring about feminine emotions became politically problematic behavior. Men protecting themselves through systematic emotional detachment. Traditional masculine emotional investment to socially risky now. Feminist success creating widespread feminine emotional isolation. Political correctness eliminating emotional gender cooperation entirely. Attend support group for women experiencing relationship problems. Discover identical stories from women across all demographics. Men used to care when we were upset. Now they treat our feelings like weather reports. Emotional support completely disappeared from masculine behavior. Group consensus that men became emotionally unavailable systematically. Traditional feminine emotional experience eliminated through cultural change. 6 months later, still struggling with emotional loneliness. Men in life, polite but emotionally unavailable completely. Feminine emotional needs no longer masculine priority at all. Traditional emotional support system culturally eliminated forever. Feel politically victorious, but emotionally abandoned by everyone. Feminist goals achieved through masculine emotional withdrawal from women. Begin understanding that emotional support requires emotional investment. Men withdraw investment when it becomes political liability. Feminine emotional needs require masculine emotional labor. Feminist criticism eliminated masculine willingness to provide care, getting independence, but losing emotional partnership with men. Political equality purchased with emotional connection to masculinity. Learned that men stopped caring about feelings because caring became problematic. Traditional masculine emotional protectiveness redefined as toxic behavior. Feminine emotional vulnerability no longer inspiring masculine response, ever. Political correctness eliminating emotional gender cooperation completely. Equality achieved through masculine emotional disengagement from women. Feminist messaging successfully eliminated masculine emotional investment. Realize devastating truth about modern gender emotional dynamics. Men emotionally available to each other, but not to women. Feminine emotional needs abandoned by masculine protective instincts. Traditional emotional partnership replaced by emotional independence completely. Feminist victory creating widespread feminine emotional isolation. Getting political equality, but losing emotional connection with men. Understand that feminist success came with unintended emotional consequences. Eliminated masculine emotional support, while demanding masculine emotional labor. Men learned that caring about feminine feelings is politically dangerous. Emotional vulnerability met with practiced indifference for self-protection. Traditional masculine emotional investment, culturally extinct through activism. Getting exactly what feminist ideology demanded, but regretting outcome.